Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a short video with the hashtag tarotobsessed, which I saw on a channel that I follow by Wayward Sun, who is a lovely lady who's tarot obsessed as well. So you could maybe look at her channel. But thank you, Tarot Obsessed, for all your support of my channel, and I'd love for people to have a wee look at your channel too. So, tarot obsessed is a tag for people who are tarot obsessed, and I think mine is going to be quite boring because, you know, those of you that know me know that I'm kind of obsessed with possibly one deck. But let's just go for it anyway. And for those of you out there that follow me and have your own channel, why don't you do tarot, hashtag tarot obsessed, if you would like to as well. And even if you don't have a channel, how about doing it, just writing it down on paper and having a wee laugh yourself. So let's see. There's 16 questions. The first one is, what was your very first tarot deck? My very first tarot deck was that I actually bought for myself was Tarot Balby. Must have been maybe about 24, 25, and I was getting open to more and more to the sort of a tool to help my intuition. And I touched my first tarot deck when I was 14. It was a wee boyfriend's deck. There's a funny story about that in my memoirs. So basically, I was in Ayr, a seaside town in Glasgow, in Scotland, and I was walking past a wee kind of new age shop, and there was this little tarot deck in the window, and it called me, and I went over and I was like, oh, I fancy that. It's almost quite cubist looking. And I went in and asked the chap if I could have it, and he said, do you know the tarot? And I was like, no, I don't. And he said, well, it's not really a beginner deck because it's all in Spanish and it only has a little book inside. And I said okay, and I walked out the shop and I got about 5 metres away and I went back in and got it because it called me. A lovely looking wee deck. I don't know if it's still on the market, but I remember the visual of the Fool in it just grabbing me. It was just so good. So my first deck wasn't like Rider-Waite or Morgan Greer or those traditional decks. It was Tarot Balby. And I loved it, and I learned from it. What is your current favourite tarot deck? Well, Rorig Tarot. I have had various Rorig tarot decks since maybe the early 90s. Oh no, I think it came out about 93. Since then, they're a large deck. They're off the market now. Sometimes a brand new one that comes up can sell between £1,000 and £1,500. And I used to buy 2 a year at £58, and when I got a new one I gave the other one away. So I would be worth quite a lot of money by now if I just kept 2 every year for 23 years. But it's not about that. There's people that have taken a lot of joy in getting a Rorig from me. And also when I found Rorig difficult to get, and one of my friends that I'd given a deck to, and I was down to one and it was getting a bit tatty, he gave me a brand new one. Well, he gave me one that was used by me for about 4 or 5 months. He gave me it back. So what goes around comes around, doesn't it? But Rorig Tarot is beautiful. The visuals on it are extremely gorgeous. I just wish it was available now. I'd love for it to come back on. It's a very beautiful visual deck. So many things in each visual. You know, some of the cards, they've got so many aspects to them that you could look at and take from them. So don't necessarily read the whole card. Sometimes it's just tiny little visuals on it that my intuition's drawn to. But yes, my current and my favourite tarot deck for many, many years has been Rorig Tarot. What is my most used tarot deck? Rorig Tarot, because I found it answered things very quickly, very precisely, and also my guide really connected with it and actually use it as a conversation in a reading, whereas instead of sometimes set spreads, we'll just use it to converse with the guides and the universe or the people's guides. So it's a very good deck for that. What is your least used tarot deck? Rider-Waite. Because I taught the tarot, I had to buy Rider-Waite because it is the basic basic deck that we teach from, and it is sort of has the essence of the basic meanings of the tarot in it, and it's always good to learn from a traditional tarot deck like Rider-Waite, Morgan Greer. But I only ever used it for, because I learned from Tarot Balby and stuck with that for a while. When I was ready to move on to other tarot decks, I kind of checked out the Assyrian one, the Celtic one, all sorts of different tarots. And then by the time I was ready to settle on one, Rorig was out. So yeah, Rider-Waite. I've still got almost a pristine one there that I used in workshops a couple of years ago. And I don't want to get rid of them because I don't think it's not a case of saying I'll never teach again. I might teach online, so I'll hang on to it. But I always think you should start with a traditional deck and then move on to the decks that kind of inspire you. And to be honest, Rider-Waite never really inspired me. How did you learn to read the tarot? I got the Balby deck. I looked at it, I used the little book. I think in my whole life I purchased about 2 tarot books, and I started really reading intuitively and with the things I was getting from the cards, still keeping an eye open for the basics, you know. Have the knowledge and add your instinct or intuition on top, and then you'll get the best answer. What do you use tarot for? Life. As far as I'm concerned, in those 70 cards, everything in life is there. Everything that can ever happen, every feeling, everything is there. I obviously have used it for many, many years for professional readings, business readings, and just everything. I've used it as a tool for self-awareness, and I've used it for connection between myself and my guide. I've also used it in sort of self-awareness games as such, putting them out and asking the cards, what's my weakness, what's my strengths, that sort of thing. But really, I kind of see life events as tarot cards. You know, if someone says something, I'll be like, oh, a 10 of swords, or oh, an ace of discs coming. So I use tarot for life. I'm addicted. I'm obsessed. How do I read the tarot? Intuition or book? Definitely now it's intuition based on knowledge from initial books. Enough, I have my own tarot book out. It's Tarot Novice to Pro in one book by Colette Clairvoyant. I've been doing it a long, long time now, and I felt in 2010 I felt I was able to produce my own book on basic practical tarot that gives kind of precise answers. So mainly intuition, but based on knowledge. Do I use spreads? Yes. I use spreads. I used to, when I did yearly readings, I would do a yearly spread where the destiny cards are ones that could be changed with the Norse tarot. Another lovely deck, but off the market as well. The wee man that actually designed these gave me one of his last ones free because he knew I'd been reading them since they come out, basically, I think. So that was the Destiny spread, 12 monthly. For the fake cards going on in the background, I use Shapeshifter Tarot, another lovely deck. Not one for beginners though, because it changes wands to air, and swords to fire, which is a kind of traditional, more Celtic way of doing it. So that gets confusing if you've started with one system. But I always just read it as energy. You know, it's like the night of fire, the night of sort of intellect or air as such. So I would put them out, and then I would go back to Rorig and do 7 card spreads for answers. The Destiny spread was a woman called Darlinda, who was a well-known astrologer in Scotland and tarotist. Her Christmas tree spread. My own spread for the kind of fake cards, and also my own 7 card spread for answers. So yes, I do use spreads, but I do use them as conversation as well. One spread I don't like is Celtic Cross. I had to teach it as part of Scottish School of Tarot because exams were taken on that one. I've never really felt it was a spread that it's just not one for me. I know people love it, but I got frustrated with it. Plus, I like to add more cards. If I'm getting something and I want more information, I'll ask my guide, can I have another card, and I'll add it on. Give it another card and add it on, and you get a full conversation going that way. So I don't like when you put out a spread and that's it. Just look at it, and well, I like to interact more, add more cards, add runes in, all sorts of stuff. And you get, to me, you get a fuller reading that way. Do I mix tarot with other divination systems? Yes, I use runes as well. Started off with a Celtic crystal, which I just read the lines in it, like scrying. But mainly runes. Yeah. What makes a great tarot deck? Mr. Carol Rorig makes a great tarot deck. Seriously, visuals. I'm a very open third eye. I love visuals. It's got to be visual, or I don't like it. That's why I like scenic pip cards. They've got to be scenic for me. I wouldn't really desire just to read, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I like scenic ones. How important is it to you that a deck sticks to the tarot system? It's very important if you're learning. It's very important if you're in your first few years with the tarot to actually read one that sticks to what the traditional books are saying and what other people know about the tarot, what the Three of Swords means traditionally, etc. But once you're experienced, if the deck strays from the tarot system, as long as you're comfortable with that, that's fine, and if it suits you, that's fine. Have I any backup decks? I've got rid of so many decks over the last 2 years simply because we moved from a bigger house to a small cottage, and I don't have the room. And I gave a lot away, which I was happy to do. I keep a backup of Rorig, and I've got a backup of Norse, and Shapeshifter Tarot is available to buy. It's still on the market, so I keep very few tarot decks now. I if there's a tarot deck here, you can guarantee it's one I use. Let's see, have I any unusual unique decks? I would say that Rorig is a bit unique because it's now off the market and it's really difficult to get. And I would say it's just unique, and it's how beautiful it is. What is your current deck crush? A friend recently was given a present of the Steampunk Tarot, and I had a wee lookie through that, and I liked that one. I did like that one. I could see myself actually reading from that one. If Rorig wasn't so me, I think Steampunk would be a decent replacement. It was certainly a beautiful deck. Absolutely adored it. Do I read reversals? No, I never have, and I never will. Telling a lie, I do read reversals. If 2 court cards come out like that, side by side, I would say that they're kind of working together. If in a work card or whatever, 2 court cards come out and one's facing the other, it's they're not getting on or they're not seeing eye to eye. But as far as reversals, saying the card means the opposite. No, I don't use them because I think every card should be taken with the card round about it anyway, and you should get the feel of whether it's positive or negative with your intuition. So I don't read reversals at all. If I could only use one deck, which would it be? Rorig. I told you it would be a boring one. I just adore it. For me, it's life itself. I can't. I used to meditate on a card every night, and that's why I love it so much. You can see so much in it. It's just beautiful, and I wish it was back on the market because I'd want so many other people to actually be able to own it because it's stunning. So there you go. That was the Tarot Obsessed tag. I hope that you liked it, and I hope that you'll do your own, whether it's for a channel or whether it's actually just for yourself. Remember, tarot is what you make of it. It's an amazing tool of divination, but it's still a tool, and remember, it can be used magically as well. But to me, I've always been clairvoyant, always been mediumistic, but when I discovered the tarot, I found my tool. I found the thing that helped me with every life aspect and every reading I would ever do. So the tarot to me is an obsession. And yes, I've gone through many decks and I've bought and sold on many decks in my life. But now I'm down to Rorig, the Norse Tarot and the Shapeshifter Tarot, and I'm very happy with that. So many blessings. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye now.